Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel, and thank you for joining. Now, we have a couple of reviews to do today. We just watched all the games. It's 11:30 at night time. I've got to wake up at 6:30 in the morning. I'm going to bed all day tomorrow, so I've got to do videos today. I've got to do two of them. Just come on down. We have two games to review. The first one is the Hawks and the Bulldogs. Okay, and this was a very important game for all of us because there are some plays in here of big interest. The next game is even more important. But take a look at tomorrow's game. Okay, I'm just going to go on Twitter for a second and have a look at this. Okay, this is tomorrow's game, and Gold Coast Humpty. Followers is in the midfield. Okay, this is unbelievable. Now we're going to phone room for Humpty. Just come down. Now we're going to go to our first game. I'm going to go straight to the Hawks. Okay, this is going to be a little bit quicker than yesterday. Okay, because I've got so much to talk about. So let's skip Warple. Okay, because I'm not Supercoach relevant. But the player that is Supercoach relevant is the sick dog. Okay, and he scored. Actually, let's get over here. Okay, I think I jumped guns now because if I do this, anyway, he scored 88, which is decent. But if you go to his fantasy score, it's 108. Okay, which is impressive. Time on ground, 94%. He was there out on the ground all day. Okay, that's even more in a practice game. Okay, that's really impressive. 24 disposals. The sick dog could be back. Now he started in defence, but he wasn't that player that we saw last year where he was playing full back. They had other players doing that for him now. Who do they have? Well, they had Josh Battle up there, okay, at full back. They had Barras there, and they had Frost. They got their tools there. The sick dog, okay. He was more loose, okay. I liked his role. It looked good. Only problem is he's got that round 3 bye, okay? We talked about Collingwood yesterday with that bye. Well, the sick dog has that as well. So that is a problem. Maybe just watch him round 0 and see what he does. He started in defence, moved to the forward line virtually halfway through the first quarter, okay? Then came back to defence and pretty much stayed there. I was very impressed with the sick dog. He looked good, but he's not going to take all the intercept marks now because they've got so many of them. Battles there, like I mentioned, and Barras is there. So sick dogs having 24 disposals though is very impressive. Battle taking 27 is even more impressive. Okay, so that's something to think about. But we're not going to talk about Battle, but I'm just saying that Battle took a lot of the kicks. Now, going further down, we go to Lloyd Meek at the Hawks. Now, he only played 3 quarters, okay? And in 3 quarters of a game, he scored 90 points. So on track to 120. He looked very good, okay? Now, he started slow in the first quarter. He didn't have much. English was pretty much dominating him, and then he dominated English. Too strong for English with the hitouts. He had 35 hitouts in 3 quarters of football, so he went nuts. Would I start him? Well, I would consider him. The only problem is that round 3 bye. Okay, so how many players can you fit that have the round 3 bye? So something to think about anyway with Lloyd Meek. We already talked about the sick dog. Let's go further down and Jai Newcomb. He had patches where he looked good. Okay, then he went quiet. Remember I spoke about Jai Newcomb. He falls asleep. Well, he brought his blanket out again and his pillow, and he fell asleep for some of the time. Then he woke up, okay, played footy, then he fell asleep again. So it was a practice game. So he's allowed to fall asleep in practice games. So round 0 is when you're going to watch Jai Newcomb, okay? And we're going to really see if he brings that pillow and blanket to the I'm not sure where he's playing it in round 0, but wherever he's playing, does he bring that blanket and pillow with him? Or does he bring the footy with him? We're going to find out. Just come down. Now, the next player I wanted to talk about, we're going to go down a bit, is going to be Will Day. Will Day, I don't know, Will Day. I don't know his role. It's starting to worry me. I mean, he had 20 disposals. He said in the pre-season that he's going to play a bit of forward time, and it wasn't a lie, okay, because I saw him forward a few times. I saw him in the midfield. I like Will Day in the midfield. I don't like Will Day in the forward line. It's starting to worry me. I mean, he did okay. He had 20 disposals, but having forward time is not a good thing. So for him, so hopefully he stays more in that midfield, so we can see more of him and get more ball and be more creative with that ball. So keep an eye on him around 0 and see how he plays with that little bit of forward time. I don't have the full stats in front of me to see how much forward time it was. So, but from the eye, I saw him there a lot. So we'll see how he goes. Now Dylan Moore is going to be a pass for the start of the year. Okay, he's too expensive. So you want to pick him up later on. Okay, so don't start Dylan Moore. I wouldn't start him. Mackenzie, some people were talking about, but I would just pass now on Mackenzie. Some of these rookies, at that 200k range rookies, the 190k ones, they could score similar to most of the 300k mid-price players. So I'd ignore most of the 300k players now and just stick to the rookies. Going further down, let's have a look. Is there anyone else? Well, we got McDonald's, but he didn't. He's a defender, okay, but he didn't play much time on ground. Only had 17%. Only scored 3 points, okay. So I don't think he's going to win you many Supercoach games. I don't even know if his job security is any good. We had Ramsden. He didn't get much time on ground. He played ruck in the last quarter. 25% time on ground. She scored 33 points in that time, so it wasn't that bad in the ruck. But job security, we're not sure. So that's pretty much it for Hawthorn. There's nothing else to report on here. Now, we're going to talk about the Bulldogs, and we're going to, Libba, okay, Libba, the grandpa, I think he's 55 years old at the moment, and he's killing all the youngsters. Another big display, 138, 120 Supercoach points, 138 fantasy points. That's insane for a 55-year-old. So he's done really well, 31 touches. He's a jet, okay, 84% time on ground, but I'm not sure if he's Supercoach relevant. He's got that round 12. Now, we talk about the round 3 buy here with Hawthorn, which is inconvenient. Well, the Bulldogs got the round 12 buy. Okay, it's even worse. Okay, so you got to be careful which ones you pick. I'd say Libba is going to be a pass. Okay, but Davidson is a lock. Okay, now he only scored. Actually, let's get over here. He scored 81 Supercoach points, Davidson. But at half time, he had like 20 touches. He was going nuts. He was on like 60 points or something. So Davidson is a lock. Okay, so he's going to be in our forward line, and we're going to lock him in. Okay, and we're lucky that he's cheap, so it's a bonus. Now, Darcy, he actually looks good. I'm almost convinced that he's going to be a top 6. He's 427k. It's not cheap. It's not expensive. So it's in between mid-price, somewhere in between there. You could probably pick him up any time at this price because he's going to have days where he's not going to score well, so he's going to score badly, and he's going to have days where he goes massive. So with Darcy, I'd hold off. I wouldn't rush. Plus, he got the round 12 buy. So we're going to go through Darcy later on and see his fixtures, okay, and see if it's worth grabbing him maybe in the back half of the season, okay? But at the moment, keep an eye on him. And now another boy to keep an eye on is this boy here, Fraser. Okay, now Fraser had 5 kick-ins. Now that's a concern because with the Dogs last year, Fraser had no kick-ins. Okay, so and Dale was missing, so maybe he loses those 5 kick-ins. Okay, so if you lose those 5 kick-ins, that's 20 points. So out of 108, his score becomes 88. Okay, so there's a difference when you don't take those kick-ins because you played on each one of those. So if he scores an 88 or a 90, just say, okay, he's priced at 370k. He still makes cash. He's not a bad option if you grab him. Okay, start him, and if he fails, you just trade him out and bring in Mills when Mills comes back. So that's one play you can do. So that's not that bad of an option. That's if you're running low on cash, okay? However, if you're not running low on cash, okay, and you got some cash to splash, which not most of us have, but if you do have that scenario, I would go with Jaden Short, which we spoke about yesterday, who's also risky, but the same risk as Fraser. However, Short has the kick-ins almost guaranteed. Not all of them, but he'll at least take 5, so that gives you that extra 20 points. So Fraser may lose those 20 points when Dale comes in, so that's the only problem with Fraser. That's the only concern. And with Short also, if he fails, you can trade him, you can downgrade him to Mills, hoping that Mills is half decent when he comes back. So hoping that Mills plays that midfield role. Going further down, Tim English now only scored the 82 Supercoach points, but that's irrelevant. The good thing about Tim English was the fact that he had 82% time on ground, 88% time on ground, and all of that was in the ruck, nowhere else. Okay, so he was a solo ruck, and that's what he wasn't last year. Last year he was sharing this ruck duty with Darcy. So he was maybe getting 70% ruck time, and Darcy was getting maybe 25 or 30% or whatever it was. This time, English had all of the ruck duties, so it's a good sign. So if you got English, it's very promising, except for his score, which was only 82. So and considering that Meek scored 90 in 3 quarters, but it's only a practice game, so it doesn't matter, okay? Because keep in mind, in that midfield, there was no Bont. Okay, so when Bont is in that midfield, and there's also no, the weapon wasn't there either. Our boy, so he wasn't there. When they are there, he's probably going to do better because he's going to have more hit outs to advantage. So we'll see how he goes. But I was impressed with his game. The fact that he was playing as a solo ruck is very promising. Now, we already spoke about Davidson. There's a lot of players at the Dogs to talk about. The next one is Sanders. Now, Sanders scored the 79, okay? The problem is, he had the 22 disposals, okay? The problem is, it's going to be the next game I'm going to show you, okay? Which is going to be the Brisbane and the Adelaide game. Sanders is like 330 or 340k or something, okay? He's going to have his 22, 23 touches, okay? He's going to score these 80s, 85s, the odd 90 here and there. But you got these 200k players doing the same thing, okay? So why, I mean, those 200k players, unfortunately, are all in the midfield, okay? So they're not in the forward line. But why would you pay 340 for a Sanders to score you an 80 or a 90 or even an 85 or whatever when you can get a 180k player that can do that? So that's something to think about with Sanders. Now, going further down, we got Harms. Okay, now Harms also scored the same as Sanders, had the same amount of disposals, but the same problem with Harms as with Sanders is that the rookies are too expensive right now, and they're very good. Okay, so they're as good as these mid prices. So I'd probably pass on Harms as well. Now, let's go further down. Is there anyone else here of interest? Let's have a look now. There's one player. I actually missed him. It's Cleary. Okay, now he scored an 89. Cleary's a rookie defender. Okay, now that's the good news. So, 18 disposals, 89 points for a rookie defender under. I think it's about 170. We're going to find out later. It's about 170k. Problem is that Dale is to come back in the team, and I would say the first one out is going to be Cleary, unfortunately. So hopefully, if we see Cleary in round 1 named to play, but we don't see Dale, do you pick up Cleary, hoping that he's not going to lose his spot? Now that's a big question. And I'd probably pass on him. Even if he gets named in round 1 and Dale doesn't, I'd probably pass for that reason, that Dale might take his spot. The coach, we know, is Bevo. So we can't trust Bevo. So I'd probably pass on Cleary for that reason. Unless he's named in the same team as Dale, that's a different story then. Then we'll have to grab him. Now, is there anyone else? of interest. Let's go further down. Matt Kennedy, 56 points. Okay, played a bit of forward, bit of midfield. I don't have heat maps in front of me. I didn't see him much. I'd probably pass on this young man, Matt Kennedy. So give him a pass. And there's one big one here. Well, there's two. Okay, one of them is Gardner, also rookie defender. Also similar price to Cleary. I was hoping to see him in action because he was named on the interchange bench. He didn't play, so we saw nothing. Just coming down. Okay, so that's another rookie defender off the list. Can't put him in. The Bont. He didn't play much. Okay, it looked like a hammy originally, but then apparently it's a calf. But it's only awareness, so it's not even serious. And he looked at the cameras and he said, no problems, I'm playing round one. So if you got the Bont, don't panic. And keep in mind, when the Bont is injured last year, remember when the Bont, we were worrying when he was injured, he scored 180s every time he was injured. So an injured Bont is a deadly Bont. Okay, so now I don't have Bont in my team, and I'm telling you this. So I'm actually very scared right now of the Bonts because I know for a fact he's going to go 180 in the first round because of the fact that he's got an injury, because that's what he does. Now let's go through the whole list now. Defenders in our team that are Supercoach relevant. Who are they? Okay, well we got the Sick Dog. Okay, 532k. We have seen him score 180s, okay, in the past. So, can be very up and down, but looks like he's got a more friendly Supercoach role, but just not the kick-ins. So, that's the only concern, no kick-ins. I think he had one or two, not many. Dale, actually going back to the Sick Dog, would I bring him in? Okay, well, that round 3 bye is a problem. However, I would still consider it. If I don't have many on that buy round. So he would be in consideration. Depends how many you have on that buy round, because we've still got Zorko the Magnificent to review, and he's also got the same buy round. And the Zorko the Magnificent is just magnificent, so you have to get him in. So just the Sick Dog, just leave him there for now. Okay, now Dale. Well, he didn't play. He may play in round 1. Okay, if he does play in round 1, he has a good role. Okay, because he's going to take the kick-ins, and we saw other players with a similar role go at 100. Okay, we even saw rookies score 90. So the role in Bulldogs' defense is a really good role. So unfortunately, Dale may be injured though, so we're not sure. Going further down, who else is there? Well, there's Josh Battle. And we just saw him have a big score, but I don't think he's Supercoach relevant. Okay, even though he had 27 disposals, again round 3 bye, so I'd probably pass on Battle. I'd pass on Barras. Okay, he hasn't been Supercoach relevant for a long time. Maybe for fantasy you grab these players, Battle and Barras, but not for classic. Going further down, okay, now who do we like? So far nobody's. Okay, well. Fraser, going back to that point of players scoring in defence, let me show you something with Fraser. Now, last year, Fraser, you can see here, last year was his first year, okay? He scored a 63, 64. They're good scores for a rookie, and he was cheap, okay? Now, 79, 68. Where did he play? Let's have a look. Even that 79 game, where was it? Mainly the wing, okay? So he's running in from the wing. That's where so you can see he's running in from the wing. So he's on the wing there. Where's he playing the following week? Okay, it's the wing, okay? Fraser was a winger. Then, all of a sudden, in round... What round is this? Round 23. So he had a bit of a break. Played VFL, okay? Had a 4-week break. Played VFL. Came back... And in round 23, right, because he might have got injured as well in between the time, he played half-back. In this game at half-back, Fraser scored 136. Massive game. And in this game, all their players were playing. Okay, so he had Dale in the same team. he had no kick-ins in this game. Round 23, I had a look at the kick-ins. Fraser had none of them. Yet he still scored 136. The role for Fraser is decent. The Bond has come out and said the player to watch is Fraser. Okay, although the Bond did tell one of my mates that the player to watch was Busting. Okay, so I'm not sure what to believe right now. But anyway, he did say Fraser recently. So, keeping that in mind, okay, let's get back over here. With that in mind, the next 2 weeks he played, all right, again, in that half-back role, he didn't score much. He scored a, let me see, he scored a 61 and a 73, okay? Now, they're not good scores, and you want, that 136 is appealing, but it also comes with low scores, because half-backs are not guaranteed to go above an average of 85, okay? So let's go back to Fraser now, all right? Let's go over here. Let's click on Fraser. So let's say, I said average of 85. Let's give him even better average, okay? Let's say he averages 90, right? Let's say, for argument's sake, we're going to say Fraser's going to average 90 points per game, all right? So 90 points. How much cash is Fraser going to make us, all right? Let's have a look. So we go 90, 90, 90. We'll do it 7 weeks, all right? We'll go 7 weeks. And he has no buy rounds as well, so he's going to play all of them. And then we're planning on upgrading him, okay, after 7 weeks. So 90 times 7. Let's project this, okay. He goes to 457k. So say 460. So he makes 90k. 90k is not bad. It's not good. But he's scoring 90s for you, okay, in between. So that's good, okay. The score of 90 is good. If he gets to 90, all right, we gave him a 90. Doesn't mean he's going to score a 90, because we saw before that he has scored 70s and 60s, okay, also 130s. So we can sort of average it at 90. If he makes 90k, goes to 460k, you grab another rookie, all right. It's sort of like a stepping stone type player. And if you're tight on budget, because you're going to try to fit in all these 200k players now, all right? You're going to try to fit in Rankins now, because I'm going to talk about Rankin very soon. You're going to fit all these players in. Where are you going to find the cash from, okay? So sometimes maybe you have to go cheap somewhere, all right? Fraser could be the one, but there's no guarantees on Fraser. Another player similar price to Fraser, all right, which we spoke about yesterday, is this boy from Richmond, okay? And well, when I say similar price, is 70k extra, okay? And with Fraser, we're trying to make 70k, so, or 90k. So the next step from Fraser is Short. Now, Short, we think, will take the kick-ins. So he gets a bonus of 20-point head start on Fraser every time he steps out on the ground. Plus, Short possibly gets all the kicks from Richmond's backline, because there's no one else to kick a ball. So for an extra 70k, I'd probably go Short, knowing that he's going to have a 20-point head start every week with those kick-ins. So that's the only letdown with Fraser. Now, who else is here in defence? Okay, we just spoke about Fraser, and there's nobody else, okay? Nick Caulfield, we didn't see him, okay? It's actually quite a reasonable price, 218k. What's wrong with him? Maybe he's injured, I'm not sure. We didn't see Sarong, okay? We saw Luke Cleary, which I mentioned, 171k. Got a similar role to Fraser, so instead of paying 370, you can get it for 200k cheaper. Scored similar to Fraser. If you have a look at the scores, Fraser scored 108. Cleary scored 89, all right? It's 20 points difference, but it's 200k difference as well. So it's not that bad, but the problem is, as we spoke about before, Dale's going to come into the team. So Cleary, we're not sure about. And another player that we wanted to see but we didn't see was Bustlinger. Okay, he didn't play. Okay, so it looks like he's not going to play. We saw McDonald and he's a not good. Scored 3 points, so I don't think that's going to be enough. Okay, so he's going to lose money by the time you bench. He plays 7 weeks. He'll be on 99k before you know it. And there's Gardner who also didn't play. So the only relevant players here are these 4. Now we go to the midfields, okay, and in the midfields, the Bont, okay. Don't panic, okay. If you let's see the Bont's ownership now, it's dropped down to 40. It was 50% before this game started. Now it's 49%. 1% have panicked, okay. Just calm it down. The 1% have gone crazy. They said no, we're not going to start the Bont now because he's injured, but he's not. And an injured Bont is a dangerous Bont, okay. And you saw last year 2 times when he was injured. Reports he might not even play. He came out and scored a 180 each time. So beware of the Bont. Now, I'm going to put Trelaw in here for a reason. Okay, and that's because of his injury, and we're going to always go back to Trelaw when we discuss this now. So, Bont, don't panic. Trelaw injured, okay? So he's at the moment not Supercoach relevant, but his injury is Supercoach relevant. Now, going further down, Libba is in 1% of teams. If you can recall, Libba was the weapon 2 years ago, which I didn't even use, and he punished me for that. So from now on, every time I use, if I say a player's a weapon, I'll make sure I get that player. However, Ed Richards for me is the weapon this year, and he's only owned by 2%, and he hasn't made an appearance yet. Okay, so no one's seen him. No one even knows what he looks like. We don't even know. If he still has red hair or not, okay, he may have dyed it to blonde. No one's seen him, okay. So but doesn't matter because Ed Richards is going to be the weapon, and the good thing is no one has seen him, so no one's going to increase his ownership. Is not going to increase, so that's a good, promising sign for the owners anyway. Now, Jai Newcomb. We want to see him in round 0 because we want to see him when he doesn't bring in the blankets and the pillows. Okay, we want to see him on field when he plays. And last year, we know what Jai Newcomb can do. He averaged 140 in the last 4 games. So Jai Newcomb, he looks really clean, even with his haircut. That's probably why he's so clean now. His haircut has changed him. He's a new man. So Newcomb, I'm very impressed with. Will Day, I'm a bit worried about that forward role. I want to see more mid-time. So next week, we're going to find out more about these 2, okay? And next week's going to decide if we start them or not. So these 2, we'll find out more. Is there anyone else in the midfield at the Hawks that's Supercoach relevant, or at the Dogs, or from this game? Well, there's Riley Sanders, and as I mentioned, he's a free 29k. For that price, you're going to see a lot of 200k players and under that can do almost similar to what he did. So I'm passing now on Sanders. I didn't want to pay up for 180k players, but I'd rather get 180k player than pay it for a free 39k player and get the same score. So there's no point in getting Sanders right now. So I'm going to pass on Sanders. Plus, Trelaw is going to come back, okay? In the Bulldogs midfield, there's also... Let's get back over here. There's also Libba in there. So there's Bont, Ed Richards, Libba. They're the top 3. Sanders comes at number 4. There's also Matt Kennedy. That's 5. And there's also one more. Where is he? He's actually in the forward line. But there's another one, and that's Garcia. Okay, now Garcia also plays in the midfield a little bit. So there's a few of them that play in that midfield. So Sanders won't get that 80% midfield time that we saw last week. That was a one-off. Okay, so take these players out for now. So, yeah, I'm going to pass on Sanders, but it doesn't mean you have to, okay? I'm just saying I'm going to, okay? Because Sanders' ownership right now, what is it at? Let's have a look. Sanders is owned by 26%. That's quite high, okay? So we'll see how it goes. Now, Cam McKenzie, 327k. People were talking about him. Similar price to Sanders. Again, similar story to Sanders. I'd rather pay for these cheapo 190k expensive rookies. When I say cheaper, they're expensive, but they're cheaper than this. So I probably pass. Go further down. Is there anyone else? And there isn't in that midfield anyway. In the rucks, there's two big ruckmen there, okay, and these two are both Supercoach relevant. Niki can get a 557k, and he's going to go around about 110. Okay, so he is underpriced. You can see by his stats last year, he's a 110 ruckman. So at 110, all right, what's he priced at? Well, let's have a look. Let's go into him. If he goes at 110, and I can see him going at 110, all right, and that's been realistic. At 110, mind you, he's going to have a game before this game, so there's going to be an extra game. So I'm going to give him, in here, I'm going to give him 7 games, and that still gives you an idea, all right? So 110. Mind you, he has a bye as well, so that's the bad thing, okay? We'll give him a 118 this game. They've given a 127 against Melbourne. I don't know how that happened, but let's go to 110, okay? 110. His high score is 112, and they give him 127 on the projection. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games at 110. What price does he go to? Well, he goes to about 600k, all right? So he makes about 40k. It's not a lot, okay? But hopefully you sort of switch him to a fallen ruckman if you wish to pick up a Gorn or someone like that. But he also misses a round. Misses round 3, so that's another problem. Anyway, and that's the ruckman. Now, let's go back over here to the forwards. Supercoach relevant. Who are they? Well, Dylan Moore, but I would pass. I think much better options right now. You could probably pick up Dylan Moore between 350 and 400k throughout the year. He'll go up and down. Sam Darcy at 427k is appealing, that price. His draw, let's have a look at the Bulldogs' draw. Who's he going to play? Okay. If his draw is good, it could be worth the price tag. All right, so we're going to pay for that. We're going to pay for the draw if it's any good. Round zero doesn't count anyway. Plays North Melbourne, that's not too bad. All right, plays Collingwood, plays Carlton, Freo, Lions, St Kilda. Well, the St Kilda game may be a good one for him. The Freo game probably a bit tougher. It's not that bad, the draw, but he doesn't have Richmond yet. Okay, Richmond's in round 15. The draw opens up towards the back end. You got West Coast. You got Essendon. You got North Melbourne. You got Richmond. You got St Kilda. If you're going to pick up Darcy, maybe pick him up as a spare. Try to get him, hopefully, the same price. And I don't mind him at an M7 spot. Okay, and then you can sort of loop him. So it could work. Now the next player that's Supercoach relevant is Ramsden. Unfortunately, he didn't play only 1 quarter, and that was as a ruck. I don't think he's going to get game time, so probably pass on him. And Davidson is a lock. Has to be in everyone's team. He's owned by 28% of people. How is that possible? Okay, now, if 28% own him, 72% are in big trouble for not owning him. This should go to minimum 70%, saying that 30% don't take Supercoach seriously and 70% do. Everyone should have Davidson in their teams, especially at that price. Peanuts, 113k. Now, this has been a shorter preview because we're going to go pop over to our next game, which is going to be on our next video, but I'm going to do that right now. So that'll be all for today. Thank you for joining. And remember one thing, it's nice to be important, but it's important to be nice. Ciao for now.
That's all, folks.